Cracker Barrel case study here. Just dropped in for a quick moment to offer some pro tips, if I may, um, as a consultant. Um, First, for anyone who is not following, Cracker Barrel is kind of this old timey country store restaurant. I've seen it in a lot of places, been to Cracker Barrels before myself. And they, in an effort to rebrand, changed their logo. They changed their logo from a picture of that included a barrel and an old man standing or sitting against, leaning on that barrel, to a Cracker Barrel insignia that includes no old man, no barrel. Now, they will say, first, let me say, Cracker Barrel is not a client of mine, and I don't have any particular insider information, special insider insight, just my professional insight and what we, the public in general, knows and understands to be the case with Cracker Barrel. And that is what they say is foot traffic has been down, they needed a rebrand um, because they might say they just wanted to freshen things up a bit and show more diversity, make a nod to diversity, and that they are open to everyone. I'm not sure how much of a question that was to begin with, but that's a different issue. But what it seems like is someone in the company decided that they needed a rebrand because they are seeing significant losses in profits. That's what we seem to know. That seems to be a given. And so they decided to rebrand. And the rebrand, what we also know is that the rebrand was happening in a lot of different ways, not just the logo, but also what it looks like inside the stores. I have not been in a Cracker Barrel since this rebrand, so I don't know anything about that. I think I might go soon, though, just to check. Wait for that update. But let's talk about the logo and the approach to the logo. They have faced a lot of backlash from its faithful clients, customers all around who apparently go into Cracker Barrel a lot and love Cracker Barrel a lot. I do have a question about these people. Like, if there's all this love for Cracker Barrel, why are they needing to rebrand? Right? It seems like they would have been successful on their own. So if foot traffic is down, there is a question that the company absolutely should be asking about why that is. I'm not sure that this particular rebranding worked for them. Well, clearly it didn't work because they went back to the old logo. So, but some quick pro tips for that aspect of it. Um, I work with my clients a lot on values alignment. It is a thing that I say all the time. Let's see if we can make sure that your stated values, the ones that are articulated on your website through mission and vision statements, match your showing up values, match your practiced values. And that seems to have been missing in this strategy for Cracker Barrel. So, quick pro tip one, just three of them. But the first one is to stick with your values. Make a commitment to sticking with your values, but you have to know your values to begin with. In Cracker Barrel's case, the values seem to have been around, much of this is communicated themselves through their website. Delicious food, check and done. A sense of warmth, as indicated by their fireplaces, right? A gathering space where everyone can come and gather and feel at home and feel like they're with family. That is what is stated on their website. Specific to the logo, the old timey figure, many people refer to him as Uncle Herschel, and Uncle Herschel was the actual uncle to the founder of Cracker Barrel. Um, the website Cracker Barrel, the company itself, talks about Uncle Herschel as someone who was friendly and kind and humble, spoke quietly, had a smile for everyone, and it seems that that is the feeling that this country store, old timey country store, wants to articulate through its logo, and that is what the old timey figure maybe was meant to communicate. But you have to know what your values are. So in Cracker Barrel's case, that That's what their values are, right? Family, um, maybe a nod to a simpler time, a simpler life, a community. Those are the values that the company apparently holds. And I say apparently because the next pro tip, number two, is to interrogate those values. As you look around at your branding, at how you operate within the organization, what customers say, you have to do, are the values that you say you're holding, is that clear to everyone? Are those values a stand-in for something else that you are not saying? So a lot of times I notice that people say American, and that means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. What are you trying to communicate when you say American? When you communicate about a simpler life, right? What is that value? Is that really your value, right? And so, for instance, in this case, the simpler way of life in and of itself is not a bad thing. I think what is problematic when many people talk about that and communicate that and say that that is a value, that the unspoken part is that there's this insistence that everyone live in that way all the time or face consequences for it. Think Handmaid's Tale. And so interrogate our values and what we mean when we say that this is a value. And third, clearly communicate those values. Um, what is communicated by everything in your space? What's communicated by your logo? What and how is clearly communicated to the staff and the team members in the company internally and for how they should be forward facing and facing the public in the name of the company. And it seems like that is where Cracker Barrel may have gone wrong with their rebrand. I don't know, and I'm sure they did focus groups, um, but I question the work that went into those focus groups, the intentionality that went into those focus groups. Um, I even get a little bit of the icks at Cracker Barrel at the idea of Cracker Barrel. But first of all, I am just one person, and this is not going to be the space where we unpack all of those icks. I will say I have been into a Cracker Barrel even in the last year. People who look like me go into Cracker Barrel, and my icks in no way come from the quality of the food or how it's prepared. Like, I generally, when I go to a Cracker Barrel, enjoy myself. So, again, know your values, interrogate, and be willing to interrogate the values of your organization. And then we got to work really, really, really hard at how we are communicating those values. It seems to me that these are some simple steps. Not that it's ever really, really easy, but three simple guiding steps that might have helped Cracker Barrel in this rebrand. Maybe not, but I also hope that it will help any of you who are with an organization and watching this video. I'm going to go to Cracker Barrel and then update you on the internal experience of Cracker Barrel beyond its logo. We'll see what happens.